Welcome, my beautiful souls, to another edition of the Soul Surgery Collective weekly reading. So, we all about spiritual cultivation, my beautiful souls. So, this week we'll be drawing one purpose card, focus for the week, what's going on currently, what energies, but we're looking at the planetary correspondences. So, looking at what's going on in the cosmos and how that energy is translated onto the earth via the individuals as well. And then we've got an action card, which will be using a Yogic Path card, looking at some form of action, spiritual action, cultivational action that will aid with whatever the message or the purpose is this week, my beautiful souls. So without no further ado, let's jump right in. I don't know why I'm excited, but let's see what messages we have today. So as you can see, we've got two God cards today. Because that's what came out. Normally we have the one, but originally the oracle would draw two. So one would be like the base dominant ruling energies or deity or mindset state of energy, and then the second card would be basically the influencing force, so something that is affecting the base energy. So in that regard we have Imset, right? The air spirit. So I'll bring it closer for y'all to see. This is Imset. So out of the four sons of Haru, which represent the different cardinal directions, so we've got that the Imset would represent here would be, right, it's north, right, but it's south, but it's in the north position, right? So just bear with me, my beautiful souls. That's just how it works. It's like a mirror. When we're talking about the four sons, they represent the four elements also, right? So the elements represent different, it's like there's four modes, you could say, to the life force energy itself. So the four sons are associated to different organs. They're associated to, like I said, the cardinal directions, the four elements, all of that. There's different systems, my beautiful souls, that you can follow. But in my system that I follow, this represents the period of 12 o'clock noon. This is when the life force is active. You can see them wearing the cobra, right, on their head, the uraeus, which is symbolic of the kundalini, the ability to rise your life force to its optimal state, and which triggers higher access to consciousness, or the one consciousness, if you want to put it that way, my beautiful souls. So being the air spirit, that will denote thinking. So for this deck and for this situation, I'm going to boil it down to consciousness, your thoughts, your state of mind, my beautiful souls, or your mindset, your psyche, right? And your ability to use your mind as a tool to, to bring forth some sort of idea you have, some sort of dream you have. So this is more about control, right? So this ain't about the imaginative side in one sense, right? And you'll see why with the next card. This is about what do we do with the idea? How do we create a blueprint for action to follow? Do you understand, my beautiful souls? This is also the ability, the mind is the tool that takes control. It's the controlling factor. It's like it wrestles back the control from the impulses, the fears, the desires. Because it's been talking about here, there's fears that will stop you from doing stuff, and there's desires that will make you run head first, heart first, or impulse first into a situation only to regret it later. So the mind gives you the ability to reflect, to step back, to circumspect, right, any situations, to not be a slave to your impulses or your emotions or your programming. So this is another way that we need to look on the true concept of the air spirit, or the concept of air, like in the sense of Shu. If you know about the Kemetic gods, Shu represents, they say air, but it represents space. It was the god that separated you could say the what we call the heavens or the skies, the universe, being Nut, and Geb being the earth plane. So what it really was is that where there was a realm where there was infinite energy, and the energy was still, right? And for there to be life, this energy had to come forth. But within that coming forth, there had to be the forming of molecules and a process of densification of energy to create life. And in that, there was space was created so that life could exist, my beautiful souls, right? So there you can see with the concept of the mind as a controlling tool, a tool. This is the ultimate purpose, using your mind. Think before you act, my beautiful soul. It seems to be the motto this week, and we'll see why when we look at the astrological correspondences. We've got Hathor, right? So if we have the mindset being the ultimate focus, so anything we do this week, we need to be thinking diligently, we need to be thinking frugally, we need to be reflective, we need to be analyzing, we need to be doing all of that, right? So we can't just act on impulse, because this energy of Hathor would have you act on impulse. Hathor, or we can call her Het is the energy or the deity that's associated with Venus. So this is where you get love, music, yes, creativity, my beautiful souls. You get the energy of attraction, right? Beautiful things, sensuality, right? And love making, my beautiful souls, which I do translate into sex, but it's actually, love making, right? So it's all of these energies here. There seems to be a stimulus of the life force energy, because Het is a master of life force arousal, hence the association to sensuality, hence the association to sex, to love, right? Creativity, right? It's the libido, it's the sexual drive. She represents all of that energy, right, my beautiful souls? So why is Spirit saying that we need to have mind over matter? So there seems to be an arousal of the life force, right? Maybe because I think Venus just went into Sagittarius, so that is taking this energy and putting it in a pole of fire, or giving it an engine of fire, where it was in the engine of Scorpio, where it's detriment, right? So that was watery. It was like the energy was draining, right? It was hidden, secretive. Now Sagittarius is expansive, it's explorative, and then you're taking the concept of love. So this is people stepping out of their comfort zones and willing and taking risks when it comes to their love or their sensuality or their needs, sexual needs also, right? But again, we don't want to lose ourselves with just passions. We don't want to lose ourselves or prevent ourselves from not actually acting upon things, because we're sitting in our emotional programming of hurt and pain and trauma. But again, we don't want to use that trauma to now go forward and act on sexual impulses which are not in alignment to our spiritual self-development. So we want to somewhat keep this aroused life force energy somewhat pure and sanctified this week, my beautiful souls. Obviously, there is a connotation with Hathor that also links to your imagination. This is the creativity part. So we need to be able to, the imagination needs to be used as a tool also. So instead of having all these fantasies and desires and all of that, we need to be quite sharp with what we really want to experience. So instead of saying, oh, I'm just open, be specifically, draw an archetype. What does your partner look like? What does a compatible companion look like? What does that creative project look like or sound like? The end goal of what you're trying to do, right? We need to be able to, we should be creating those archetypes in our imagination, because Heru is the crystallizing imagination. Well, the imagination through Heru is a crystallizing dynamic of the life force. So it stimulates the life force and then it crystallizes via an imprint of imagery. And that's your imagination, my beautiful soul. So this also works on you when it comes to the entrapment of your trauma, how we say we relive our trauma daily and over again, because we keep seeing the same images, not realizing we can change those images. Where once you see yourself as a victim, you're going to constantly keep seeing that victim image play out in different scenarios or get triggered through different scenarios, but you don't have to accept the image. You can reprogram the image. So this is where Imset, the air spirit, right, under the energy of Haru, your will, taking control of your will, right, and not acting on these impulses or allowing these programmings to sit, you're actually changing the dialogue, my beautiful soul. So that's a lot of energies going on this week, Let's go in a bit more and see what's going on with what's the action. Okay. This is what's going on. This is what's the astrological principles, we've got Venus again, but this time she's in Aries, in her detriment. So this is again the life force is stimulated. The life force, the desire to couple up, to create, to merge, right, under Aries is very dominant. It's someone who's willing to take a risk. It's someone who's willing to go after what they want. This is also someone attractive to that same kind of energy. Someone who's not going to beat around the bush. Someone who's upfront and direct about what they feel, right, and what they desire. It's like the first house is the image of the soul in this regards. So the image of the soul is like saying that the mask that you wear is someone very sensual, right, but someone who is also highly sexually stimulated, right? Someone who, this is not soft Venus, right? This is Venus the Amazonian. This is someone who is willing to stand her ground, or its ground, whether you're male or female. In regards, because it's the self, it's how you see yourself and what you show the world. So don't be afraid to pursue these creative projects with oomph, right? With a fearlessness. But again, just make sure that you're not acting off impulse alone, because we need to be able to conceptualize or have a conscious plan in order to make sure we achieve what we are trying to achieve, my beautiful souls. Venus in Aries can be combative in love. So there could be, as you can see with the volcano, there could be that energy of back and forth in with people. Okay, yes, here we go. So we've got Venus again in Libra. So these two cards oppose each other, literally, astrologically. So you've got Venus at home, right, in Libra, meaning she's understanding, she's cool, she's gentle, she's that Libra that we know. She's for justice, she's for art, she's for creativity, she's for relationships, she's for listening to you, like listening and hearing your problems and all of that goodness there. But see, this is the energy of indecision. With this energy of Venus in Aries, it's like there's a battle between the needs of the partner, right, whether that's a lover, or the needs of a business partner, right? There seems to be some sort of dance going on where someone has to be able to stand in their own individuality and their own needs, right, as well as be aware of somebody else's. So what's happening, I feel, is that we're creating or we're desiring based on what other people think and expect of us, right? And someone is being left in the shadow. Someone's needs are unsatisfied, my beautiful souls. So like I said, you've got the energy of the detriment, where someone could be too self-focused, or someone needs to be more self-focused, more honest and upfront about whom they are, what they feel, what they desire, what they're trying to go for, right? And be aware that you're not going to be, what's the word? You're not going to be, not like belittled, but this belittling is something to do with, it's like something that you allow, as opposed to somebody actually forcing you to take a smaller role than what you're entitled to. This is you accepting. This is like someone saying, okay, I'm gonna give you a promotion and I'm gonna give you like £5,000 raise, when you know, like if someone new was coming in, they would get like a £10,000 raise, right? So this is someone asserting their need and their value against somebody else's need and their value. And then obviously somewhere in between that, there needs to be a middle ground, but there might not be, right? So the middle ground might be you stepping into your Aries mode, right? Into this Venus in Aries mode, my beautiful souls. Then we have Venus again in Gemini. So there's going to be a lot of communications, a lot of nice words going on. For y'all who are in this back and forth, right? Maybe there's like a contract that you maybe could be, what's the word? There could be some legal issues, right? There's some back and forth legal issues or battle going on, right? Be creative with your words, my beautiful souls. For those who are looking to write, this is a beautiful time to write with this Venus, creative writers with Venus in Gemini, right? For those who are ready to get back onto the so-called dating and entertaining scene, right? This is this is allowing you the energy with Venus in the third house. There's communication within your community. So as you go about, you might meet someone when you're on your travels and your journeys around the community. My beautiful soul. So all of these factors is what's coming up right now for the Venus. So there's a strong Venus presence, right? So we've got Venus in an air sign. So Venus having the energies of love, creativity, the imagination, all of these energies. And Venus is also an energy that can also, that rules the kidneys, my beautiful souls. So just so y'all know, she rules the kidneys, she rules the sexual organs, she also likes sweets. So all of these things we have to be aware of, especially if she's in detriment in Aries. The acid alkaline within our body would need to be balanced, right? And that balance is also is reflected with the balance that we have with each other as male, females, or just two different individuals, right? Friends, foes, especially business partners. And there is an energy of understanding who your enemies are, seeing who your enemies are, especially with this energy of flattery, right? It's being able to give flattery, to say what you feel, see beauty within your community or beauty within the next individual and be able to express that. But it's also about being aware that people can also use that against you. People can come with a lot of words, forked tongues, right? And stroke your ego in order to gain something from you. And that would be stimulating your life force. And then again, this is where you would need your IMSEP energy in order to take back that control, because you're being aroused at the benefit of somebody else, right? And not gaining what you require. So again, Venus is also in 2S and she's domicile, she's in her own sign of partnerships. So we've mentioned that there is a strong partnership energy this week, whether that's relationships, business partnerships, or an understanding of your foe or who you're battling against in legal arguments, right? Or just in general, you started to understand who should be in your circle. And then Venus in Aries, Aries is a very enterprising energy, very active, very dominant, right? Wants to act and gives you the ability to act on what you feel. So make sure you're using all of this energy and this energy arousal in the correct way, my beautiful souls. And this leads us to what action is required. Kundalini. Jeez. All right. You just heard us talk about the life force. You can see all these snakes going on. I mentioned the snake on Imset's head. Het Haru, she's wearing the Atin, the sun disc, right? Symbolic of Ra, the life force again. So the Kundalini is the awakening of the life force. So let's say that you have a base energy, right? Your prenatal chi is sitting like let's say just around the navel area, my beautiful souls, like the base of your spine, right? Is sitting there curled up, just inactive. Someone's come or you've had a thought, you've had a desire, right? Or you suffered some sort of pain, right? Or someone's coming and offering love, right? This energy just sitting still, right, is activated. 1 second. So my beautiful souls literally had a knock on the door. So back to the Kundalini. So we was talking about it being a base energy, just like a car needs fuel, right, to empower itself. So that's how the energy, or what they would call the Shakti, or we would call the Shekhem. So the Kundalini is of it, it's rising. So as you can see with these different Shakti, these are different vortexes or energy points within the body that needs to be activated so that the whole body is fully optimal. As soon as we get to like the crown chakra, this is a whole cycle. So you can see the serpent snaking in, because it's showing you like with the Kadika symbol, the medical symbol, which you normally see with wings, which shows you the amplification. So let's say that our crown chakra, or to be connected to the consciousness of the universe, the one in supreme intelligence, it's a door that needs a specific kind of key, and the key that it requires is an energetic key, right, my beautiful souls. And that energetic key would be your life force energy. The life force is also within the breath. So as you breathe in, right, it connects with the prenatal chi. So what you're doing is breathing the life force in, and when you're breathing it in, it's awakening the life force in your prenatal chi and bringing that up, and it's creating a network and it's cycling, and that's to unlock, like I said, people say the third eye, but we're just going to go straight to the crown because this is what I feel the energy is talking about. So there are a number of methods, right, that you can stimulate the kundalini, right? There is tantric sex, there are specific yogic postures, there is breath work, my beautiful souls. There is also singing and dancing, right, which is what that Venus Heru Hathor energy also represents, right? So I feel that with this power being awoken within us right now, right, there is an option, there is a choice. It's either this power can drunk you, meaning you get possessed by your lower base passions, right, and you act impulsively on those things, and that's where these words like lust and indecision and flattery start kicking in, my beautiful souls. Or you can become the actual steering force. You become the arouser, and then you shape this energy. So how do you shape the life force energy? You do this with breath work and with visualization. And this is where Heru's coming in again, because it's ruler of the imagination, magic nation. So you see the word magi, right, is the power of visualization. This is what crystallizes the life force or directs the life force energy, my beautiful souls, right? So this is why the life force is being awoken, right? It's because you do have dreams. That dream could be to establish a multi-million-dollar business. It could be to be an artist. It could be to fall in love and establish a family. Whatever you're trying to achieve, right, or wanting to achieve, requires energy, right? So this is why the life force is there, because we are will and power. Your will cannot be done if there is no energy to enable it, or to empower it, or to animate it, to manifest it, or to attract it, my beautiful souls, right? So this is the reason why this energy is awoken. You have these dreams, you have these ideas, these big plans, and spirit saying, okay, cool, I'm gonna give you the energy to do it. Right, but on the flip side, you do also have your fears, your doubts, your emotional programming, or how you see life force energy, or you mix life force energy with just as sexual energy, or sexual energy is not seen as a sacred life force energy. And this is what spirit's bringing in awareness. There is a correlation to the life force, the essence of joy, the sensation of joy, the mind frame of joy, also sex, right, is sacred, right? So there is a correlation going on, my beautiful souls, right? So the idea is to use these two together, right? To use the consciousness, the force of consciousness, to direct the life force upwards, right? In order to empower your goals, right? To empower your physical form, to reconnect you back to the oneness of the universe, if you want to go that deep. Also, you could use your sexual acts in that way. Also, my beautiful souls, this is what the tantric teaches. It's like a form of stimulating of the life force, so that you can reconnect back to the internal life force of the universe. And everything is made up of energy, my beautiful souls. Every atom within the atom is energy, my beautiful souls. So, right, you can see the conscious, this is will and power. So we don't want to get tricked with the sensational, right? But if we're using the sensational, the sensual, we still need to govern that, right, with the mental. Do you understand, my beautiful soul? So again, within our environment, there is a lot of community work, a lot of if there's a lot of work, there's a lot of words and a lot of speaking and a lot of dialogue, right? A lot of writing, paperwork maybe, or for those who are creators, like I said, this is the time to write that story, to release that new song, or to create that essay that you wanted to, that blog post. Some of y'all are needing to understand and create balance within your relationships, right? With this indecision, I think it's come up before, right? So where we can't have a split mind, like, you know, they say your heart and your mind. It's more really your soul versus your personality. Your personality is the symbol of your programming, right? That you now need to, your soul is trying to wrestle or make itself known and seen, right? So your relationships will also reflect that internal struggle. So the more you become aware of your self-worth and what you are, is the more you be challenged in your relationships, and decisions will have to be made. So there is this battle about being fearless and confident about what you are, whom you are, and going after what you require, my beautiful souls, with this Venus in Aries energy. So this isn't no more passivity. This is no more just wanting. This is action is required. This is a release, right, my beautiful souls. So for those individuals who, again, have been single for a period of time, or they have been going through that process of replenishing and healing, right? This is an awakening, my beautiful souls. You see the chameleon right there. So this is saying there's an offering of change. All of this fire energy is actually not coming out as just raw fire, as you can see with Venus here. She's tempering the life force energy, or the energy itself is being tempered with air and with a little bit of fire, right? Because you'll think, oh, life force is fire. Life force is seen as feminine energy, the ability to manifest. It's when it's in action, you could be seen as masculine, my beautiful souls. So again, you could see the two poles within yourself. A conscious being you could be seen as masculine, as you can see, and then the energetical side, the fertile side, that is able to give birth, as feminine. But they both cross over, right, as well. So like there's a consciousness, the reflective side of your intellect, or of your consciousness, right, instead of the intention. The intention is the masculine, the reflective is the feminine. The same for the energies. When it's in its most nurturing, abundant state or still state, is very feminine. But when it's in its shaping factor, or it's in its active, or it's burning hot, it could be seen as masculine. So this is tempering, temperament, right, temperature, my beautiful soul. So it's being able to gauge, right, with the energy. So the energy you are working with is the inner life force this week, the inner life force, and how we use that life force appropriately. So this is the time to achieve some big dreams, or to make some big changes, because you need power to make change, right? Even if it's to give up those habits, right? We are in the Sagittarius energy, so this is perfect time for self-development, to explore, right, my beautiful souls. You've got Venus there, you've got Mars there. So there is a lot of energy situating, and Mercury's going to come back there soon, right? So there is a lot of energies that is going to help you when it comes to self-development, I would say, first and foremost. And from that self-development, maybe soul purpose or dream activation or goal activation is also stimulated whilst you're discovering, I suppose, whom you are as an individual soul. Kaboom, my beautiful souls. That's us this week. Let me know in the comments how that resonates. Let me know how this sensual, energetic life force arousal is working with you. Are you feeling it? Are you rejecting it? Depending on where you are in your life, right? So let me know, my beautiful souls. I would love to know. And like I always say, stay tuned, because the book is coming soon. Living as Auset, check yourself before you wreck yourself, my beautiful souls, which is just going to be a manual of self-cultivation, mixing up Kemetic spiritual science, some astrology, some Hermetic principles and esoteric principles from around the world, also all into one neat little package, my beautiful souls. So at least we got a little blueprint of how to develop the eye, my beautiful soul. So until next week, look out for the blind spot cards, which will come out on Wednesday. And kaboom, love, peace, light, and abundance, and with a little bit of darkness, my beautiful souls.